Pickleball is one of the country's fastest growing sports. Changes on the way to the intersection of Boundary and Northfield and the Island Highway. And a brand new edition of Clock has the boys doing crosswords.
Hello, my name is Wendy Huntbatch and this is Earl Grey. We're from the World Parrot Refuge in Coombs. The World Parrot Refuge is a place where parrots come to live out the rest of their lives without having to go from home to home. And they fly freely. Did you know, in order to create extra money for them, we now have opened a lavender shop right on the property. We have acres of lavender growing there, so it's a very beautiful place, especially in June. Hope to see you there.
The last of 4 new inductees into the Sports Hall of Fame is Dr. Ed Johnson. He's recognized for his involvement and contribution to the world of soccer. Ed was actively involved in the BC Referees Association and was its president for 2 years. In the late 1970s, Ed became a member of the first Canadian Soccer Association Medical Committee. In 1983, he joined the national team as one of the team's doctors who traveled on over 50 out-of-Canada trips. He says that soccer allowed him to see the world in a way that he probably never would have if he had done it on his own, and he's indebted to the CSA for such a great opportunity. Ed Johnson inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame here in Nanaimo. Ladysmith will be celebrating Canada Day at Transfer Beach this year. Their celebrations run from 1 until 5, and you can get a listing of all the things happening all over the island on Canada Day and any other day for that matter at harborliving.ca. I wonder if our very own Derek Johnstone will ever be inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. You never know. Here he is now playing pickleball.
Go interactive with
Derek. So Dave, what is this game that's happening behind us?
This is probably the fastest growing sport in North America and growing around the world as well. It's called pickleball, and it's a game that was invented 50 years ago this year in Bainbridge Island, Washington, by a couple of couples who had a cabin at the lake and they wanted a sport for their kids to play. And in Nanaimo, in most of the areas that we play, it's actually a sport enjoyed more by seniors and people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s actually.
Yeah, why is that? It actually looks like it could be active and fun for all age levels.
It's not really sure. The name might be something that throws some people. It doesn't sound like anything they've ever heard of or really want to take part in. Tennis has that natural allure.
They got number 1 in there. Lucky shot, Howard.
If I'm going to give this a try, is there anything I need to know about the court and rules to play?
There's a few things, but once we get started with you, Derek, you'll find it just natural. We'll just rally for a little while, warm up, and once we get started, we'll have a couple of serves and get you playing. Oh, good try, good rally. Pickleball has a couple of unique rules that protect the players from, I guess, the dangers of the sport. One of them is called the kitchen line. It's also called the non-volley line. This white line going across the court. You can't play the ball when you're stepping into that area. If the ball drops into that area, then you can step up. That protects you from getting nailed in the face by somebody standing right at the net.
Because I was in the kitchen, that would not have counted. Because even though there's holes in this, like Swiss cheese, it can still hurt if you got a hard shot to the face.
It actually does hurt pretty good. It stings pretty good. The paddles are all different varieties of surfaces and composites that make them aluminum, fiberglass, different things. There's different shapes and sizes, but there's a standard overall size they have to be. They're much like a table tennis paddle, but larger, and that's really what gives them the ability to play outdoors.
And this is the ball?
This is the ball.
And it looks nothing like a pickle.
It's a wiffle ball, people would call it. This is an outdoor ball. It's quite hard and it's got smaller holes. The indoor ball that we play with is a little bit softer, larger holes, and a little bit smaller.
Like if you really hit it hard,
yes,
is it going to drop dead after a few feet, or is it going to soar like a tennis ball?
In short distances, it drops like a rocket. Longer distances, it floats, and you can make it float, spin, go sideways, fool the opposition, all kinds of fun things with it. So that's the advantage of having the hold in it. It has all different actions.
So I'm looking at the courts, and we've got tennis courts behind us, and we've got the pickleball courts here. And they're almost like a miniature tennis court.
They almost are, but they're actually a badminton court size court, is what they are. As a one-year trial period with Parks and Recreation, they've taken one tennis court and created 2 pickleball courts to see how this turns out. Badminton Park's undergoing some resurfacing these courts next year, and once this one-year trial period's done, they'll have an idea what to do, but it's a possibility they'll do that. They may build brand new courts. They may take other courts in the city and redevelop those ones that aren't being used much. We're very fortunate that Parks and Recreation has worked so well with us in the last year. We put a lot of time and effort into getting this trial period running, and they deserve a lot of credit for working with us.
Whoa. Totally handcuffed. The name is quirky, the game is fun. How can people get involved with the association and learn a little bit more?
The simplest way is to go to the Nanaimo Pickleball Club, our website, or on Facebook. In there you'll find information about the club. You'll find an email address to contact us for more information.
And if people want to see these courts be more of a permanent fixture here at Badminton Park, what do?
They just get out here and play. We need to support these courts. Come on down, find out who's playing, join in. A game only takes 15 to 20 minutes, that's all. So if you're not playing, if you're waiting, you're probably not waiting very long and you're back on the court having fun again.
Good game, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for winning.
My name is David Douglas. I'm the Artistic Director of Oceanside Classical Concerts, and we'd like to extend an invitation for you to come and join us for our sparkling season, second season, starting on September the 26th, and 4 wonderful concerts for your entertainment and at the Knox United Church. For this season, here we are producing 4 concerts over the season for a subscription price of $95. That's $23.75 per concert. This year's series starts off in September the 26th. We have the Borealis String Quartet. They're from Vancouver. The next performer is pianist Jane Coop, who is from Eastern Canada, but is well known throughout the world for her performances and interpretations. We have a cello and harp duo coming. They're called Couloir, and they're also from Vancouver. And then our season closeout is we have the Elmer Eisner Singers coming from Toronto. There's 20 of them, plus their accompanist, and that'll be a grand finale for our season. This whole organization is not for profit. And anything that we do happen to make in the future, we're still trying to build our series, but anything that we do make in the future, we want to launch a scholarship program for students and anybody that wants to have a career in music, that we would be able to launch a scholarship program that would benefit them, and therefore we're giving back to the community in that way as well.
Go interactive with
Kate. The intersections of Boundary and Northfield and Highway 19A have a bit of a reputation as not being very user-friendly, being somewhat confusing and potentially very dangerous. That's all going to change in the fall when some major improvements are coming to these intersections, thanks to Ministry of Transportation and the City of Nanaimo with some help from ICBC. What is the challenges with this area the way it is right now, Paul?
Well, some of the challenges are that there's convergence of 2 of the city's major roads in close proximity to Highway 19A. And to make it even more challenging, there's an active railroad that runs right down the middle of those 2 intersections.
And a pedestrian walkway, just to make things more confusing.
Yeah, and the railroad is about 1 meter higher in elevation than the highway, which makes things even more challenging.
And how dangerous is it?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer, but in terms of sort of accident statistics, it's one of the top intersections in town, including Ministry of Transportation Highway and City of Nanaimo roads. It's one of the top intersections in terms of accident rate. So it's definitely one of the most concerning intersections in town.
So what's it going to look like? What kind of changes are we going to see?
Well, there's a few key changes. One of the big ones, there's going to be a right turn acceleration lane from Northfield onto the highway. The project's largely driven by the desire to improve safety at this intersection. And one of the biggest accident locations is the right turn from Northfield onto the highway. So the right turn acceleration lane, we're expecting that to really sort of mitigate one of the biggest safety concerns here. Another thing we're doing is we're adding a dedicated left turn lane from Northfield onto Boundary. We won't be able to accommodate the left turn from Boundary onto Northfield. And also there's a multi-use trail connecting the ENN Trailway with Boundary Avenue. So when we started looking at this, we found studies from the 70s that were seriously looking at ways to improve basically what's currently here now. And all the solutions that were sort of presented at that point, they were so expensive that they weren't sort of palatable. So I mean, people have been trying to work and improve this intersection for years. The current iteration that we're working with now was started with some studies in 2007.
Why does it take so long? There was a problem identified in the 70s, and here it is 2015, almost the end of by the time the construction starts.
So, I mean, what we have here is multiple jurisdictions. So we have the City of Nanaimo, we have the Ministry of Transportation, we also have the Rail Authority, and all three have to agree that it's a priority and as to the details about what's going to be done. So it's just adds a level of complexity when you have such a technically challenging project that's overlaid by this multi-jurisdictional issue as well.
How long will it take? Starting in the fall, finishing?
Sort of spring, summer 2016.